And when I skipped in here in my overalls, what did you think I was going to be ordering?
You know, I think it's a lager-friendly fashion outfit.
These will forever be known as lager-friendly overalls. Forget whatever they were called before. The only thing better than an ice-cold, locally made beer is an ice-cold, locally made beer that gives back to the community.
Absolutely. Community partnerships is one of our 3 main pillars here at Hops and Grain, so giving back is one of our favorite things to do.
And this beer in particular that you're drinking is extra special, Resilience. Why is it called that?
So it's called Resilience IPA, resilient in the support of the campfires that happened in Southern California. So Sierra Nevada is a legacy brewery located again in Chico, California, and they were unfortunately affected massively, and almost their brewery got lost to the fires. So they sent out what we've been calling in the brewery industry, the craft beer industry, a bat signal of, hey, if you're willing to help, we would love to have you brew this beer. Here's a recipe. They even supported ingredient purchases. I believe by now over 1,500 breweries across the world have supported it and are donating 100% of the profits to the Sierra Nevada Campfire Fund.
What a special story. And that just shows you can create community anywhere around anything.
Absolutely.
What was it like for y'all trying to bring a beer to life using someone else's recipe?
Well, it's pretty funny because, I mean, you can tell the color is a little bit different than the one you're drinking. Sierra Nevada on the West Coast is known for making West Coast IPAs, so they tend to be a little bit more on that piney, resiny side. It's just kind of fun to have something different than what we typically brew on our everyday tap board.
And my drink is extra special too. This is the Grain Changer, and I just love the way you've brought in all these different partners to do good for a bigger amount of people.
The fun part about this one, Grain Changer, was brewed in support of Keep Austen Fed, local charity that feeds about 10,000 people a week. So Keep Austen Fed will take quickly perishable items from restaurants and grocery stores and deliver them to those that are in need. And we partnered with Easy Tiger, local bakery here, and they donated surplus bread. So as we know, there's surplus food in all kinds of ways. Bread tends to be one that is the biggest. And we were able to brew surplus bread into our beer and then therefore make Grain Changer beer. $1 per pint is supporting Keep Austen Fed.
I mean, that is so special too. And don't let bread go to waste.
You can make beer out of it at minimum.
Exactly. If it can become beer, it still has a whole nother life. You've seen so much growth over the last few years. What did that journey look like?
We are 7 years old, turned 7 this past October, and it's pretty exciting. We've been in this exact space since the beginning. We started out with 300 square foot tap room. We're now in a 1,200 square foot tap room.
Whoa.
Our first year we brewed 862 barrels, and we've brewed up to, I think our maximum that we've done is about 8,600 barrels. So it's been fun to see that grow.
Over those years, what have you learned about the Austen beer drinking community?
Well, we learned that they are very loyal, especially if you can support things that they believe in, which we value, you know, environmental stewardship through our sustainability practices and quality innovation. So I think craft beer drinkers in Austen definitely know quality, and so we pride ourselves in making that exist in our beers, as well as supporting the communities that they live in.
There's a lot of science that goes into making y'all's beer, and you're actually on the forefront of some of that technology.
Absolutely, yes. And luckily our founder was a 7th grade science teacher, majored in science in college.
That's convenient, isn't it?
When the brewery was 2 years old, realized that in order for us to make quality, consistent craft beer, we need to have a lab. And in that process, we continue to fight for that sustainability piece. And one of our most recent ways is partnering with a company called Earthly Labs, which is woman-owned entrepreneurship, Amy George. She has created a machine called CC, who recaptures CO2. So in the brewery world, we use a ton of CO2 to carbonate our beer, just moving the beer from tank to tank as well. CO2 is what pushes that to happen. Currently, we're all purchasing a ton of beverage grade CO2, which is good, it's beverage grade, but being able to recapture our own and reuse it, one, it's not sending it out into the world. There's a huge, massive push to lower the CO2 emissions by 2040. We're doing what we can to make that happen.
That's impressive. So what have you seen now that that's in action?
What it is doing is also improving the taste of our beer. So we've noticed beverage grade is good, but this recapturing of our own CO2 is even improving the taste. And right now, the one they call Zoe, our flagship beer, is the one that's consistently being used with that recaptured CO2 from CC.
So everybody wins.
Yes.
That is a recipe
Exactly.
for success right
Exactly.
there. What is that like when these beers become iconic in a city and then you have people coming from all over to drink them?
Oh, well, thank you for that. And that is the exciting part, you know, having the tap room always asking people, how'd you find out about us, or where did you travel from? Definitely all over. But the one they call Zoe is named after our founder's dog, Zoe. She's a Papillon. It was brewed and released in 2013 for the first time. And we have 6 beers in our year-round core beers, and she's the oldest and still is our #1 selling beer in the tap room and in the market.
Wow. Why do you think that is?
I think, it's an easy drinking, crisp, light lager that has a slightly hoppiness to it. So it's a dry hopped pale lager. It is 5.2%. Also, people love dogs, most people, but Austen really loves dogs.
Yes, they do.
So being named after a founder's dog, it's an orange can. So in this city, orange is never a bad color.
Like where your head's at, Sheila. Hook 'em horns. So when people walk in here, do you guys like see them and be like, oh yeah, they're gonna order XYZ? Like, can you judge a beer drinker by its cover?
I think it's innate to kind of just have that, but we do try and train ourselves to not be that judgmental. You could be somebody that walks in here and you know way more than us. You could be somebody that's in here with your group of friends and really never had a craft beer. And we want to make sure that we're providing the best experience, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So we try and ask questions that engage the customer and allow them to kind of help show us how we walk through. If you're just like, give me something easy drinking, awesome. River beer or American lager is gonna be that go-to. If it's somebody that's like, what do you have that's new? And, oh, when's the last time that you visited us?
And when I skipped in here in my overalls, what did you think I was gonna be ordering?
I think it's a lager-friendly fashion outfit. So you got a pale ale in front of you, which is kind of in between the lager and the IPA. So I think that kind of spoke to your overalls.
These will forever be known as lager-friendly overalls. Forget whatever they were called before. I don't even remember. What do you think in general makes hops and grain so special?
I think, we do really focus on being welcoming to all. We just want to be able to have anybody that walks in here be feeling like it's home.
What makes a beer good to you?
That's the fun part of beer, right? So it can all be different. I think, just quality. If you get a lager, you want it to be light, crisp. It should be not lingering on the tongue. It should finish fairly quickly. Give you that effervescent at the front and then kind of a smooth finish in the back. If you're getting an IPA, there's so many versions of IPA, so that one's a little bit harder to just speak to one. It's also fun to just ask the bartenders or the brewer, like, what were you going for in this IPA? Like, oh, I was looking for tangerine and papaya, and you're like, oh man, and it's crazy because a lot of times they don't even have fruit. That's just from the hops. That flavor is coming out.
So what do you think the future of craft beer culture looks like?
Well, I think the future of craft beer culture, one, is probably going to be a lot more brew pub style. The newer breweries that are going to be coming out are going to be focusing on selling on site and making, again, like that community environment where that's your neighborhood bar, that's your neighborhood restaurant.
Beer for every hour, every meal. You open at 10 a.m. Obviously don't discriminate.
No judgment zone here. Absolutely
Zero.
not.
This is a safe space for all beer drinkers. What's a beer you haven't had yet that you would like to taste?
Oh man.
Is there a flavor you would like to have in a beer?
We've definitely brewed, so we've brewed over 250 beers in our 7 years. So we've done a wide variety of beers. I think for me, one that's actually, it's a good brewery friend of ours, Pine House Pizza, just released a beer called Crispy Waves, and I did not get to taste it yet, so that's on my
So what does that
list.
taste like? Pizza?
Yeah, no. I think they were focusing on an easy drinking IPA.
But if you had to put like a crazy flavor in a beer, what might it be?
It's gonna sound weird, but like an Arnold Palmer, so like a tea lemonade, but in a beer.
I wanted to know. Like,
It might exist out there, but it would be fun to try here.
Wouldn't it? Well, thank you for letting us try these. Cheers to you and all the great work you all are doing. It's going to be
Absolutely.
a great year
Cheers.
ahead. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Taylor.